Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on Arrow Season 5, and this is going to be my review for episode 19, otherwise entitled Dangerous Liaisons. So obviously before we go ahead, there will be spoilers within this video for this episode, so if you have not watched the episode yet, be sure to go check it out first before jumping into the rest of this review and, well, yeah, the rest of the video. So obviously this is the return from the 4-week break that Arrow had along with Flash and Supergirl, and at the end of last episode, 4 weeks ago, we did see Prometheus get outed, or Adrian Chase get outed as Prometheus, and now he is on the run. So this is essentially where this episode picks up. I actually did like how this episode picked up. It didn't like muck around, it just, you know, went straight to them trying to find Adrian Chase. And this obviously involved the arcade scene with Argus and Team Arrow, which I thought was really like creepy. Like if you think about it, like if it's really silent and all those arcade machines start going off with all their different noises and stuff like that, it would be pretty damn scary, and I actually really did like this scene. So it is sort of hard to tell whether Adrian Chase had this set up already and it was like his go-to area if, you know, he was ever to be caught, or if this is like a couple of days after, or even just like a day after he was outed and he had time to set up all those booby traps and stuff around the arcade, which I thought were pretty cool, like the AK-47 and like the shuriken thrower. But I must say that like arcade that popped up and had Prometheus's face, I was like, okay, but yeah, we'll just go with the flow of that. It was a bit strange. Now the chaos in City Hall at towards the beginning of this episode around, you know, Adrian Chase being outed as Prometheus, I actually did like. Recently the mayor stuff has sort of taken like the backburn, even though you know, Ollie hasn't really been in the Green Arrow suit at all. But it is good that they incorporated stuff that had happened in like the first half of the season back into this, you know, part of the episode. And, you know, none of it was forgotten. So like they had the was like the former husband, like the ex-husband of the lady that was killed by Prometheus, the one that, you know, that we all know from earlier on this season. So it's good that they, you know, referred back to that and actually brought a past act from Prometheus back into the light. It was interesting to see that Prometheus had a man on the inside of Argus, even though it sort of got just, you know, introduced and then brushed to the side really quickly. I thought they might have gone a bit more in depth with that, which I thought was pretty strange. But obviously we saw him get killed by Elena. I don't think she was necessarily aiming to kill him. It's sort of hard to tell with Helix because they tend to lie, especially with their members. But you know, they're trying to get the keys from Argus so they can free the founder of Helix, who is Caden James. So this is the introduction to Caden James, the leader of Helix. And I don't think it's the last we're going to hear that name. Maybe not this season, but definitely heading on to into the future of Arrow. I definitely think we'll hear the name Caden James more often. Now, actually, my favourite part of this episode, my favourite little story arc, was actually Renee, or Wild Dog, and his daughter. I thought that was a really good arc. It was good that they came back to this story. I wasn't sure when they were going to... We knew it was coming back because in that big sizzle reel trailer they released, you know, last week, we did see Wild Dog hugging his daughter, so we knew she was coming back into the fold, but we just didn't know when, so obviously it got revealed here, and I'm assuming she'll appear a couple more times in this season. But I did like the quick arc it had in this episode where, you know, Renee's not feeling that he's good enough for her, you know, retelling stories of what he was like before he, you know, appeared on the show, where he was like a drunk and he like ended up, you know, getting his daughter burnt because he, you know, he was making soup, she tried to reach for it and all that. Which obviously paired with like the help from not Captain Lance, but Quentin Lance, you know, how he would love to see his daughters again. Obviously, one is alive, but one is, you know, traveling through time constantly, and obviously Laurel has passed away, so you really got that connection between Quentin and Renee, which I think has been probably one of the strongest connections throughout this season, ever since them two started working together. Now, we had the elusive Oliver and Felicity talk in this episode, which we did see in the trailers and some promo pictures for this episode, which a lot of people were worried about. There had been like a Photoshop of them kissing in this scene. There was like a Photoshop of it, and people were trying to make it out as real. I knew it was fake straight away because it was never going to happen, especially because we knew towards the end of this episode what was going to happen. That was not going to happen in that scene, but you know, they just talk about why Felicity is doing what she is doing, and Ollie feels guilty for the fact that she is doing what she is doing because really she's trying to take down a threat that he created. But really this episode is like a, you know, this episode and next episode are like a two-parter really. Like it's a real like Felicity two-parter if you want to call it that. So I think this episode did a decent part in regards to setting up what's going to happen next episode, which I'll obviously go over in a trailer breakdown later on. Now, Helix's hunt for Kate and James was interesting because obviously Argus was a big part of this episode, but it was strange that they were able to fool Argus as easily as they could. I know they're hackers and stuff like that, but I think Argus was just fooled a bit too easily. But yeah, we'll just leave that. I guess it has to happen for the sake of the plot of the episode, but I do think Argus was fooled a tiny bit too easily. Now, was I the only one that thought that Dinah Drake made a Donald Trump reference when she said, "Always ask a lady before trying to grab her"? I think that's what she said, or something along those lines. I think that's a reference to Donald Trump, because I know the Arrow Writer Room do like making Donald Trump references on Twitter and stuff like that, and even like the executive producers like Mark Guggenheim. So I don't know if that was a Donald Trump reference. Was I the only one that caught that? Let me know in the comments. Now, one thing I wasn't really expecting this episode, just because I thought they would keep her tied to this organization, is when Felicity was actually dumped by Helix. Now, you can understand why they dumped her, because, you know, the ties to the Green Arrow and stuff, it's just too risky, too much of a liability, as they say in the episode. But I did find it very interesting that they did it then. You think it might have happened maybe towards the end of the season, just because I thought they might have wanted to keep Helix more attached. But this does make me think that Helix is going to be a big part of Season 6, and seeing that when they rescue Kate and James, they don't unmask him, which makes me think, okay, is he going to be maybe the villain for Season 6? And they might, you know, tie everything together where maybe Felicity calls the Season 6 shenanigans in regards to the villains. So they obviously left Kate and James unmasked for a reason. They reference him a lot. So I think he's going to come back into the fold, be maybe not the season-long villain, but definitely an antagonist throughout the season for the team to deal with. But he did leave Felicity that bio, whatever it was, so they can track the heartbeat and stuff of Adrian Chase, which actually leads to some explosions within the Arrow Cave, or the Arrow headquarters, whatever you want to call it. Now, this is obviously going to lead on to next episode, where I think the episode's called Underneath. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the episode title, where Oliver and Felicity, it's just them. I think it's just them. I think the rest of Team Arrow are in the episode, but it's very Oliver and Felicity in both the flashbacks and the present day. If you notice in this episode, no flashbacks. I only realized that when the episode ended. I was like, oh, there was no flashbacks. It just caught me by surprise, because I thought they might have done some. But obviously they're trying to spread out the remaining flashbacks and, you know, not just have one or two episodes. Just try and make, you know, one of the episodes to come like half flashbacks or something like that. So next episode will be Olicity flashbacks, if you want to call it that, Oliver and Felicity, and the present day will be Oliver and Felicity trapped in the Arrow Cave. Now, I'm not sure if Prometheus is going to be there, because as the, you know, the heartbeat reader thing says, he was there, but he might have just been on top of them, you know, above the headquarters or something like that. I'm assuming it'll get explained next episode. But they'll also deal with Lila and Diggle next episode as well, because, you know, there was some tension there, especially how Argus was acting, and Diggle's like, you know, non-approval of it, if you want to call it that. So Lila and Diggle and Oliver and Felicity will be the big focuses of next week in regards to story. But overall, I thought this episode was okay. I don't think it was the greatest return from a break, but just because I don't think they chose the best episode, maybe. It's obviously going to lead on to next episode, and I think this is a lot of setup for maybe Season 6 if Helix is heavily involved there. But as I said, I think the best part of the episode was probably Renee and his daughter and that storyline. I actually really enjoyed that. But the rest, you could argue this is definitely a filler episode, even though it is going to carry on to other parts of the season. And I thought we might have got a scene with Prometheus towards the beginning, but we obviously got that arcade scene instead, which I thought was still enjoyable. But you know, you need that Prometheus, don't you? He's just been such an exciting character this season that when he doesn't appear, you're a bit disappointed. But thanks for watching, guys. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like on it. Let me know in the comment section down below what was your favourite part of the episode, what didn't you like too much, and are you looking forward to next episode, where it does seem it's going to be very Oliver and Felicity centric, with Oliver and Felicity flashbacks. From what I've heard, it's between the events of Season 4 and Season 5, so that break that the events between those two seasons that we did not see. So yeah, leave all those opinions in the comment section down below, and of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you later, guys. Goodbye.